Good morning, everyone. I'm suffering a little bit under the weather. The humidity, then the pressure, and then the storms coming through are doing a bit of a number on my headaches. Not bad, just something I guess our system just deals with. As you get older too, well, I've had this since childhood. We had something in Switzerland called foehn. Foehn is this wind that comes through, and that always, did that ever mess with my head, even as a child. It's like, when that wind comes through, just on the way the atmosphere is, right? And the pressure in the air and the whole thing, and this and that, right? Affects people differently than others. So I believe in that, but I don't believe in the full moon having any kind of effect on people. Okay. The moon's too far away for me. Atmosphere is happening right here. Yeah. I also noticed that, and I always wondered if maybe that had something to do as well with, even though my migraines actually went away while still living in California, the much higher elevation that I've lived at now for so many years, 20 plus years. I'm trying to think, 24 I got here, and we got here in 03, so that would make it up 21 years now. The air is much thinner where we live. Yeah, it's kind of, it's just a 3-hour drive from here. When we first moved there, I could tell that, wow, the air here, it's almost like you had to breathe a little bit more to begin with, and then you adjust it, right? Yes. And now, when I come to the lower parts of the country, I can feel the heaviness of the air as well. So now I have to get used to it again, living with a different quality of air. Isn't that something? Well, anyway. Yep, so mine's a little cloudy. We keep on. That bird's trying for the third time. I'm flabbergasted by that. You're a little late in the season to do this now. Yeah, and she has her combs all the way up. She's not happy. I'm sorry, honey. I should have done this inside, huh? I'll keep that in mind while she's still trying. Let's see. Third time may be the charm. Also, there must be something going on in the nest, because that's the first time I've seen her actually this close. She keeps trying for me to move. I can tell. Honey, I won't hurt them. Alright, let's get going so I can get out of her hair, huh? Okay. Yep, I'm home alone. It's just the dog and myself right now. And later on, I'll have that little boy coming, and maybe my daughter will come to visit. I want to hold that little one so bad. My little baby, my littlest granddaughter. I'm good now. I should be over this. Not be contagious in any way anymore. Okay. We are in the first book of Maccabees 2. Weaving our way through this maze to find God's Word. Mattathias That's the second super chapter. Unleashes the holy war. Right? Yeah, okay then. Mattathias and his sons. 2. About then Mattathias, son of John, son of Simeon, a priest of the line of Joarib, left Jerusalem and settled in Modin. He had 5 sons: John, known as Gaddai; Simon, called Tassi; Judas, called Maccabees; Eleazar, called Avaron; and Jonathan, called Appas. When he saw the blasphemies being committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, Alas, that I should have been born to witness the ruin of my people and the ruin of the holy city, and to sit by while she is delivered over to her enemies, and the sanctuary in the hand of foreigners. Her temple has become like someone of no repute. The vessels that were her glory have been carried off as booty. Her babies have been slaughtered in her streets. Her young men by the enemy's sword. Is there a nation that has not claimed a share of her royal prerogatives, that has not taken some of her spoils? All her ornaments have been snatched from her. Her former freedom has become slavery. See how the holy place, our beauty, our glory, is now laid waste. See how the Gentiles have profaned it. What have we left to live for? I don't know. There's nothing. Mattathias and his sons tore their garments, put on sackcloth, and observed deep mourning. The ordeal of the sacrifice at Modin. The king's commissioners, who were enforcing the apostasy, came to the town of Modin for the sacrifices. Many Israelites gathered round them, but Mattathias and his sons drew apart. The king's commissioners then addressed Mattathias as follows: You are a respected leader, a great man in this town. You have sons and brothers to support you. But the first to step forward and conform to the king's decree, as all the nations have done, and the leaders of Judah and the survivors in Jerusalem, you and your sons shall be reckoned among the friends of the king. You and your sons will be honored with gold and silver and many presents. Oh. Raising his voice, Mattathias retorted, Even if every nation living in the king's dominions obeys him, each forsaking its ancestral religion to conform to his decrees, I, my sons, and my brothers will still follow the covenant of our ancestors. May heaven preserve us from forsaking the law and its observances. As for the king's orders, we will not follow them. We shall not swerve from our own religion, either to right or to left. As he finished speaking, a Jew came forward in the sight of all to offer sacrifice on the altar in Modin, as the royal edict required. When Mattathias saw this, he was fired with zeal, stirred to the depth of his being. He gave vent to his legitimate anger, threw himself on the man, and slaughtered him on the altar. Oh. So what did Mattathias still actually do here now? We haven't even heard the response of the commissioners. Yet, here is one guy says, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and do what they want me to do, and then I'm getting all the stuff. And Mattathias is doing what? Slaughtering one of his own here, by the way. Okay, this is not a foreigner. This is one of his brothers in supposed faith. Or a Jew, an Israelite. At the same time, he killed the king's commissioner, who was there to enforce the sacrifice, and tore down the altar. In his zeal for the law, he acted as Phinehas had against Zimri, son of Salu. Then Mattathias went to the town, shouting at the top of his voice, Let everyone who has any zeal for the law and takes his stand on the covenant come out and follow me. Then he fled with his sons into the hills, leaving all their possessions behind in the town. Okay, well, hey, that sounds great, doesn't it? Really, when it comes down to it, it sounds great. Here is this, he's taking a stand against, what? Right? What do you guys want us to do? No, we're not doing that. We're not going to give up the guidance of God. We're going to stick with that. But what is he doing? He's putting, again, just like Mordecai did, a whole bunch of people at risk of being slaughtered, right? Because of what? Because he opened his mouth. Okay. He did what he did. He could have just sent that commissioner on his way, right? And say, yeah, no, we're not doing that, so you need to go. It sounds like it was just one guy. I don't know, I guess there were a few soldiers with him. I don't know, it doesn't say. And Mattathias and his sons would kill everyone in that party to come and check on, okay, are you guys doing what the king wants you to do? And then he flees and then goes through the town, says, hey, anybody that wants to follow me, come on. Well, you'd be pretty dumb to stay behind knowing what's going to happen to the rest of the town once word gets out, right? So they go and hide all. And then what? How long are they going to last? The whole town, say, the whole village says, well, we better follow him because we're already toast now. Also sounds like Mattathias didn't beforehand kind of go around the village and says, look, we got this guy coming, most likely. What are we going to do? How are we going to address this? Just saying. Is this the answer? I don't know. Let's find out. Maybe it is. The ordeal of the Sabbath in the desert. Many people who were concerned for virtue and justice went down to the desert and stayed there. Taking with them their sons, their wives, and their cattle, so oppressive had their sufferings become. Word was, well, okay, what was that? Well, what does this Mattathias just do? Yeah, what's next in line for all of them? It doesn't matter if they were on one side or the other. What concerns me more so, okay, on how so easily people just kill each other, your own neighbors, your own people in your town, rather than, hey, let's talk about this. I get it why you're doing this. You're scared, and give them the courage, the morale to fight back in the proper way. And what is that? Well, has anybody ever given it actually a try? Where you just, okay, I could go to after Jesus died and the sufferings of the Christians for 400 years, and what did they do to survive? Now, a lot of them didn't survive. But the ones that did, they all did band together. What they do? They hid away. They did too, right? But by killing others, okay, maybe they did. We'll find out, I guess, more, but here again, it's just, I liked, just recently, I heard this, when you're in hell, keep walking through it. Just keep walking through it till you get out on the other side. Of course, that can happen in many different ways, but it makes a lot of sense to me in many ways. And what does that entail? Sometimes you do keep your head down. Yes? Well, what are you going to do good dead? Right? Yes? Just so that you have, what? Bang your head against a wall, against something that you just don't have any control over at the moment? Well then, where is the faith and trust in God here? Right? Who can switch things around in a heartbeat? That's Word was brought to the royal officials and forces stationed in Jerusalem in the city of David that those who had repudiated the king's edict had gone down to the hiding places in the desert. A strong detachment went after them, and when it came up with them, ranged itself against them in battle formation, preparing to attack them on the Sabbath day. And said, enough of this, come out and do as the king orders and you will be spared. Right. The others, however, replied, we refuse to come out and we will not obey the king's orders and profane the Sabbath day. The royal forces at once went into action, but the others offered no opposition. Not a stone was thrown. There was no barricading of the hiding places. They only said, "Let us all die innocent. Let heaven and earth bear witness that you are massacring us with no pretense of justice." The attack was pressed home on the Sabbath itself, and they were slaughtered with their wives and children and cattle to the number of 1,000 persons. All right, wait. Now, first, okay, and where is Mattathias here now? Did he get killed with his sons too? Or was this another group of people who said, we got to go someplace too? Right? All right. And they wanted to keep the Sabbath. Okay. Was this an admirable? Yeah, but it's still a consequence of whose behavior? Mattathias and his sons. But they didn't fight back. They did. Okay, well. So 1,000 people, women and children, all were slaughtered. But who started this again? This is not a whole lot different than in the book of Esther. That was just a story. This is supposed to be stuff that actually happened. Yes? Surely all them people there thought, well, this is the Sabbath day and we're keeping it, so God will intervene. He will do something. They probably were all praying. And yet, you know why they still got slaughtered like that? Because the foundation for war was already laid by Mattathias and his sons. It's already there. God can't work with that. What's he going to do? Slaughter back. Anyway, that's really sad. But again, due to the spiritual work that I do, this is good to know. Yes, good to know. Find out. Because there's 1,000 people somewhere in spirit world, right? That, in a way, just cried out to me. So, different kind of thing. The activity of Mattathias and his associates. Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, I got it, guys. When the news reached Mattathias and his friends, they mourned them bitterly and said to one another, "If we all do as our brothers have done and refuse to fight the Gentiles for our lives and institutions, they will only destroy us the sooner from the earth." So then and there they came to this decision: if anyone attacks us on the Sabbath day, whoever he may be, we shall resist him. We must not all be killed, as our brothers were in the hiding places. Why not all try to survive? Okay. Ugh. Soon they were joined by the Hasidian party, stout fighting men of Israel. Really? Who are they? Each one a volunteer on the side of the law. All the refugees from the persecution rallied to them, giving them added support. They organized themselves into an armed force, striking down the sinners in their anger and the renegades in their fury. Their own people. That sounds like now they're killing their own people first. And those who escaped them fled to the Gentiles for safety. See, I'm not getting enough information here now from. So there were some people who said, no, let's not do that. Let's just, let's try to see how we can survive. And they were immediately, well, so you don't want to, is that following God's law, truly? What's one of God's laws? Thou shalt not kill. Don't tell me they're following God's law, that Mattathias and his sons are following God's law here. Again, just like with Mordecai, what's your purpose of doing what you're doing out there? When you decide to draw God into it, right? For what exactly? To vent your anger and fury on the people around you that disagree with you? That's following God's law? Okay, all right, just saying. Mattathias and his friends made a tour, overthrowing the altars and forcibly circumcising all the boys they found uncircumcised in the territories of Israel. Wow. That is... Okay then. Taking it out on the boys now too. Well, but that is... I said, no, that's taking it out on the boys. Right? Yes? Again, on their own people. It's not right. In my opinion, it's not right. Oh, I'm sure. Some people who will read this go, yeah, they did, yeah. Right? Okay. Fine. As I said. Well, what you have done during that? I'm not there. I wasn't there. I live here now. And it's very difficult to stay on the side of just peace. And to keep one's own emotions that well up because of some things we see and hear in check. Why should we keep them in check? We already know that if one does not reflect and just react to something, most likely it'll never be right. Yes? Well, anyway, it is what it is here. I've said this in a video a long time ago where I was shown I had a vision on the porch and realizing where would you like to end up in spirit world, really, when it comes down to it? With your family, with the people you love and love you? Some people don't have anyone that loves them, right? Yes? Okay, I believe that our Heavenly Parent always sends people to include the ones who are totally alone. And one has then to examine their self. What was my choice at certain times in my life? Yes? I was asked at the end of the vision that I had on that porch, do you want to you want to be with your family in spirit world? Well, yeah. Then you can't break any of the commandments. You can't take a life. You will automatically be separated and have to deal with the lives taken. And that goes for me. If someone takes my life, I better be ready to forgive quickly. Or I will also be trapped in spirit, in that realm of victim and perpetrator. Yeah? Interesting? All right. Anywho. Forcibly circumcising all the boys they had found uncircumcised in the territories of Israel. What did they do? Go and pull every boy's pants down? My gosh, really? As I say, try to put that into action. Actually, visualize that and what that looked like. And that was right? That was right to do? They hunted down the upstarts and managed their campaign to good effect. They wrested the law out of the control of the Gentiles and the kings and reduced the sinners to impotence. So where did they do that? In small little towns where there was one or two of those guys there? Or, as I said, I have no idea. It doesn't, I don't know. The testament, the death of Mattathias. As the days of Mattathias were drawing to a close, he said to his sons, arrogance and outrage are now... Arrogance and outrage are now in the ascendant, escalating. It is a period of turmoil and bitter hatred. This is a time, my children, for you to have a burning zeal for the law and to give your lives for the covenant of our ancestors. Huh? But of course, to give their life for the covenant and their ancestors, in what way? Gosh, you know what? If that's ever a fallible little paragraph here with, intentions that sound good and righteous and all that, yet it's not. It's absolutely not. Remember the deeds performed by our ancestors, each in his generation. And you will win great honor and everlasting renown. It's always about that. Does everybody need to go down as a legacy after they passed away? What is it with some of these people always on the top or have this potential to lead, right? That then they suddenly need to leave what behind as well? For what purpose exactly? They're not living for the rest of the people. Or acknowledge their talent to lead the people in the right direction. Here, the promise again of what? What did God actually, earlier in the Testament, promise the people of Israel when it came to inheritance? A place to live. Peace. Stability in society. Right? Here, Mattathias, his last words to his sons, basically keep doing what we've been doing, and you will have great honor, this and that. Okay, you know what? Stick it where the sun don't shine. Was not Abraham tested and found faithful? Was that not considered as justifying him? Joseph, in the time of his distress, maintained the law, and so became Lord of Egypt. Why did Joseph become the Lord of Egypt? Why was that? You see? No. By going against the Pharaoh? Hey, he married whom? Only had one wife, though. 2 children. And did what? For both the Egyptians and the Israelites. Yet here he's being used as, look, if you stay on the side of the law, completely disregarding the path, for example, that Joseph took after he was rescued and put in prison, then, what path did he take? Yet here it's being abused as, used as and abused as for a completely different purpose. Yes? I wonder if these sons even know actually the story. Okay, just saying. Phinehas, our father, in return for his burning zeal, received the covenant of everlasting priesthood. What the heck does that mean? Joshua, for carrying out his task, became judge of Israel. Caleb, for his testimony before the assembled people, received an inheritance in the land. David, okay, I could say more here. I'm not going to. Let's just finish this up. David, for his generous heart, inherited the throne of an everlasting kingdom. Did it ever last? Elijah, for his consuming fervor for the law, was caught up to heaven itself. Oh my gosh, they're making all this up. Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael, for their fidelity, were saved from the flame. Daniel, for his singleness of heart, was rescued from the lion's jaws. Known then that, generation after generation, no one who hopes in him will be overcome. Wow, interesting. We haven't even gotten to parts of this yet, and there's stuff in here I'm going, hey, wait a minute, we haven't even read about this. Do not fear the threats of the sinner. Oh, his brave show must come to the dunghill and the worms. and so does yours. Dunghill in the word poetic way of saying dead body. Exalted today, tomorrow he's nowhere to be found, for he has returned to the dust he came from, and his scheming is brought to nothing. Yeah. My children, be resolute and courageous for the law, for it will bring you glory. Here is your brother Simeon. I know he is a man of sound judgment. Listen to him all your lives. Let him take your father's place. Judas, Maccabees, strong and brave from his youth, let him be your general and conduct the war against the Gentiles. The rest of you are to enroll in your ranks all those who keep the law, and to assure the vengeance of your people. Another thing else I wanted to mention here is the names, on how all these sons of Mattathias had different names. One was a Jewish name, and the other one was what? Just saying. Or were these all different people? So that then the story fits. Right? Because you can't really find... Crafty people wrote this thing here. All right. Pay back the Gentiles to the full, and hold fast to the ordinance of the law. Then he blessed them and was joined to his ancestors. He died in the year 146 and was buried in his ancestral tomb at Modein, and all Israel mourned him deeply. Sure. Well, again, so here's Mattathias. He starts something and doesn't finish it, and then the sons have to carry it on. Okay. Guess we'll find out more what happens next. Oh, it's thundering out there again. We had a big old storm coming through here last night. I had to come out here and move the big pool. We have that kind of right between the stairs. And I was wondering, man, is that going to blow out after all? And I looked, I can see out through my window there a little bit, and I looked out and I'm going, that is halfway out. I better go out there, right? Yeah. Oh, baby was so scared. Such a big dog. So scared of the storms. Oh, poor little thing. Poor big little thing. Well, anyway, she's all right. Oh, I still have to write down what that is. You know, all this just reads like the Book of the Kings. Ugh. Oh, yeah, it did say. So we're going to read, what, 2 more books of warring and killing and making excuses for this or that or I don't know what, so that, why is that, to create all these atrocious things, regardless if you're on the side of right or wrong, however people want to look at it, that's an atrocious thing to do, to pull every boy's pants down to see if they're circumcised or not, and then do it right there on the spot. I wonder how they did that. Did they have something set up where it's okay, let's make sure we do this clean and safely, but we are going to do it, right? Or what? I wonder how many of those little boys actually got maimed at the same time. Just saying. If they really did that. And here, right? You're telling me that is the law of God? This is where the law of God is being pulled into this kind of stuff. And you know what? It isn't any different today. It isn't any different. Yes? Even today, we have to weave our way through all this polluted information to do what? Doesn't it matter? There are a lot of things due to the fact that we're so poor in spiritual nature now that, and obviously always have been somehow, that we can't see. We can't see it. We can't see everything that actually truly goes on around us. And on how our own behavior, our own way of, okay, let's call it that, trying to survive, right, with the heavenly law is, it's incredibly rewarding. Right? Yes. Oh, in honor and wealth and property and yes and what leaving a legacy behind. Says no. It's not like that. I guess the easiest I could say is a peace of mind. Peace of mind in your heart, in a way. Yes? Oh, for not doing anything and no, for trying to establish the right way, regardless on what goes on. And when I think on how people who, oftentimes people in their adult lives who suddenly come across something and they realize, oh my gosh, my God is an awesome God. But my awesome God is not as I was told. He's not vengeful. He's not this. He's loving. He's a parent. And he wants good for everyone. Wants everyone to follow his guidance. Then he suddenly goes, well, in order for that to happen, in order for me to fulfill my purpose in life, I have to be 100%. Which means I'll have to give my life if I come across someone who wants to take it just because I believe. Yes? Still happening all around the world. And I've believed the best thing that we can do is to honor their sacrifices, honor their strength, their bravery. Willing to do that rather than strike back. And pity the perpetrators. Pity them. Pray for them. It's interesting on how when someone fights you, wants to fight you, it's just two people, and the one just stands there and says, okay, go ahead, take your punches. If you don't fight back, the other person is not going to get the relief, the satisfaction of winning. Right? Yes? It's one way to teach people. All right. Not easy to do. It's not easy to do. Oh, Father, we need peace in this world. And everyone gets to choose to do so. Yeah. All right, that's all I have to share today. Yes. May Heavenly Father bless and protect you, embrace you with love, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.